Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Anti-Haul number 9. Oh my gosh, I have a bucket of stuff. Let's get into it. For those of you new to anti-hauls, here's how it works. I like to share with you guys the decks that I regret purchasing, decks I'm not going to buy, pre-order, or that I didn't back on Kickstarter, all that kind of stuff. And then I like to share with you stuff from my own collection that I feel like sort of scratches the itch, as I like to say. Now, sometimes things from my collection scratch the itch better than others, but I try to always find something from my own collection that I can focus on to sort of ease the FOMO a little bit when I am trying to decide what to buy and specifically what not to buy, which is really what I'm talking about in this video. As always, a couple of disclaimers. I like to keep it kind in this space always. I like to keep the conversations about the decks that I'm anti-hauling positive. And I do that for a lot of reasons, namely because I go to YouTube to feel good and I like to talk about things from that space. So I also have a lot of respect for creators, and even if a creation of a deck or a book or something like that isn't for me, that doesn't mean that it's like objectively bad. Right? It just means that I'm not resonating with it and it will probably resonate with other people. And in fact, all of the time I get comments on these anti-hauls that things that I don't like, other people are scooping up. So just know that that's the perspective I come at this with. So the first category is decks that I regret purchasing. And this is sometimes more difficult than others when I'm planning these anti-hauls, but I always usually have one or two things that I feel like I probably was a little impulsive on or that I didn't end up getting on with the way that I had hoped. And that is kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about decks I regret purchasing. Yeah, so it's kind of like a low-key regret, not like a big regret. You know what I mean? It's not a capital R regret. But in any case, I did purchase fairly impulsively the Everyday Tarot. This is a little mini deck that you can get just about anywhere. It's super affordable. There's not a price on my actual box. But, oh no, yes there is. It's $16.50 Canada, $12.95 US list price. And sometimes it's even on sale. This is such a great little high quality deck. If you're looking for something simple, if you're looking for a deck to study with or a deck to get started with, I think this is a really great one. But I have a tendency to, it comes in this like little like, it just like opens like a little, it's like the production quality in this is actually really good. There's a little booklet that actually slides out of this inside cover of the box. And then there's like a plastic part that actually holds the cards. That part's not my favorite, but it's still really kind of nice. There's even like a little foam insert so that your cards don't slide around too much in that little plastic box. Now, I think when this first released, this plastic part was really hard to open, and I don't know what they've done differently because mine doesn't have that problem, but I heard lots of people talking about it. It comes with a couple of like quick tarot spreads, like a quick tarot spreads card, and 7 steps to an accurate and insightful tarot reading, which is super handy. The deck itself is edged in a matte gold. It's got this really cool kind of like, not perfectly flat, but really nice backing design that's purple with gold and white, which is literally the entire color scheme of the deck. In fact, the only colors that you will find throughout, there's not even black. Yeah, the only colors you'll find throughout the entire deck is purple, gold, and white. And that's where me and this deck kind of end up having to part ways, because this is really cute and I love what they've done. You'll notice probably a theme between decks that I end up not picking in like my Say Yes to the Deck series, or in decks that I end up anti-hauling, not purchasing, or removing from my collection. I don't tend to get on very well with monochromatic or limited color palette decks. There's a couple of exceptions, but it's an incredibly rare thing for me to really bond well with a monochromatic or limited color palette deck. This deck has purple, gold, and white, and that is it. And I just don't feel inspired to ever reach for it. Although, again, it is very, very well done. The symbology in the cards is fantastic. It's a great little deck. It feels really nice to shuffle. It's a fun size. It's portable. Like, I have nothing but good stuff to say about it. I just didn't ever reach for it. So it's going to leave my collection. I do think, again, if you're looking, like, when I was first learning about tarot, the only like deck like this that you could find for this like really cheap price, like a little mini deck like this, was that oh, it's Danny's first deck. What's it called? The Nova Tarot, or the Tarot Nova or something. And you could get it in those little display stands at like your Barnes & Noble, like by the checkout in like those little like gift set thing. That was it. That was the only one you could find. So this is like a world above the quality of that. In my opinion, I think it's much better done, much more well done, whatever. It's nice. It's really nice. Not for me. So I will be passing that one along. So what I love instead of this deck is another mini deck that recently came into my collection. Same size, basically. The little baby panda tarot. Okay, so this is the Way of the Panda Tarot by Kimberly San. Again, portable, adorable. I love mini decks. So this is just the most recent one that I've brought in, but this is the cutest dang thing. Like, it's literally, like, it comes in a nice 2-piece box. I didn't show this on camera. I should do like a side-by-side. If you're interested in seeing a side-by-side of the baby panda with the regular Way of the Panda, let me know. But I love Kim's work. I love everything that she does. I love everything that she creates. She hasn't created anything that I'm like, I hate that. Like, she's my aesthetic. As a creator, she's my aesthetic. And these Way of the Panda cards are so cute. And I think all the white space and all the color and all the fun, like look at the backings. It just makes it a really fun deck to work with. It's one that I want to reach for. It's one that I want to play with. And that's the difference with something like this, where I'm like, this is great. It's a cool size. It's great production value, but I don't get excited to reach for it. But I do get excited to reach for these. And that comes down to personal taste and aesthetics. But I love this. Again, I have this in full size. I backed it on Kickstarter, and I couldn't not bring home a little baby panda. And I found out, I think there was a sale, and somebody posted about it in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group and was like, oh, the baby pandas are on sale. And I'm like, what? And then I immediately ran and scooped one up. So this one lives in this cute little baby panda bag, because I couldn't bear to just, most of my mini decks actually just live in a basket, but this one needed to go in its baby panda bag and live with its big brother, big sister. So yeah, that's what happens with that one. But anyways, I love that instead. The other one I'm a little bit gutted about, actually, because I really wanted to love this. Hello, where are the rest of your pieces? Oh, there you are. Okay. So this is the Publishing Goblins Oracle Dice. Now, I actually recently got this, and you can see my opening and my first impressions in my video where I share with you the new glasses that I got. It's all in the same video. So you can find that here on the channel. I'll try to remember to link it in the cards or in the description box down below. I wanted to love this so bad because I love the idea of it. But when I got the dice in, I was so overwhelmed. And I think you can even see that on the video. I will say I'm keeping the little mat that came with these because I think it's neat for a casting cloth. But these little dices, first of all, they came in and they felt, how do I say this? They did feel cheaper than I was expecting them to feel. They're fine. They're nice. They feel exactly the same as like any other. They feel just light. They feel lighter than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but they just feel lighter. And I found it really overwhelming to consider the idea of learning all of these faces. Like when they were first starting the Kickstarter campaign, there was less dice. I have like an itch. And I totally could work with less of the dice at once. Like I don't have to work with all of them at once. But I just realized I was not in the least bit excited to study these and actually learn them. Now, I actually backed at the level that got me these little guys, and I even got the little, the deck version of the dice faces. And I was like, well, maybe I'll work with the deck. I'm not inspired at all. I don't know what the situation is. These are basically what the faces are in the deck, in card form. Or in the dice, but in card form. That's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully it's focused. I might not be flipping. I apologize if I end up flipping too quickly and the camera doesn't have enough time to focus. I'm trying to get better at that. Please bear with me. But anyways, I was like, well, maybe I'll work with these. But again, not even a little bit inspired. I have no reason to feel the way that I feel. I just am not, I'm not feeling it. And I think I was also kind of disappointed by the book. Not that there's anything wrong with the book. I guess I wished that it had been easier to navigate or easier to work with. I don't even have a suggestion. I can't close the box. Close the box, Lisa. There we go. I don't even really have a suggestion. It's just, it feels really clunky to like look all the dice up and like figure out what it is you need. And I considered maybe like edging the pages and Okay, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I just realized I did not want to take the time it would take to get to know this and use this as a workable system. And I do think it's a really, really good system. It's just not one that I'm inspired to like put the time and effort into learning so that I can use it effectively. And I even noticed that on the video that I did where I opened these up, people were like, "Oh, I wish you would have done a sample reading." And I was like, "No, I should have in theory, but like the idea of trying to do a reading like that on camera when I felt like it would have taken a million years to film that." I did do a sample reading for Peggy when I first got the dice in. Like I cast them and I looked up all the individual meanings, and it was just the most tedious, not fun process ever. And I just realized it's because these aren't for me. At the end of the day, that's all it was. Because it's a smart system, it's a cool system, it's well thought out. Like all the different types of things you might need to do an effective like casting style reading, they're all in here. It's great. It's just not for me. So what do I love instead? So when it comes to the idea of a casting system that I am going to need to study in order to be able to use effectively, I knew it needed to be something that was going to excite me. And I have played with runes, and I found for myself that I don't necessarily enjoy casting runes. I enjoy doing single rune draws and working with a single rune at a time. That is how I've been getting along with runes. But, and I don't have it to show because at the time I'm filming this video, I don't even have my ship notification yet, but I backed the Cosmovisions Tarot, no, excuse me, Cosmovisions Oracle by James R. Eads. James, if you ever see this video, I haven't even unboxed it yet, and it is the best Kickstarter experience, hands down, that I've ever had. I can't imagine any Kickstarter experience topping it. Quite honestly, I really, really can't. I've never spent so much money on a Kickstarter. I've never added so many add-ons on a Kickstarter. It was, anyways, one of the add-ons that you could get with the Cosmovisions Oracle is the Geomantic Visions, which is a set of geomancy coins. It's a system. It comes with a book, a basic book, so that you can like get started with geomancy. I am so excited to learn geomancy. So excited. It's the most excited I think I've been to learn anything new since tarot. And that's saying something. There's something about it that is if it seems like it's going to be very tactile, which I love. I'm very excited. And I watched some of the enthusiasm coming from Kelly at The Truth and Story, Kelly Fitzgerald. And she actually recommended a book in a live stream that I ended up on hers, The Art and Practice of Geomancy by John Michael Greer. I've already bought this in anticipation because I am legitimately incredibly excited to dive into and study and learn this system. The excitement factor, it's just this I'm excited about. This seemed like a chore even to like begin trying to use it. And that to me is the difference. And there's no explanation for that besides like this is something that just feels like it's going to float my boat. And the other thing, not so much. I am so excited about this. And again, I haven't even gotten my ship notification at the time I'm filming this video, which is a couple weeks before it's going to go up on the channel. Hopefully, by the time this goes up, I'll at least know when it's going to be to me, but I suspect I'm going to be in the latest group of shipping because I literally added on like basically everything, almost everything. Yeah, like I went a little ham. But anyways, so really excited to get into this. That was a lot about the things I regret purchasing. Let's move along. The next category is going to be mass market decks that I'm not going to buy. And the first of these is the Sacred Creators Oracle by Chris Ann Donnelly. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I thought for sure I was going to buy this when it was available. When I found out that the Sacred Creators Oracle was coming back, it was originally an indie deck. When I found out it was coming back and it was going to be mass market and therefore incredibly affordable, I was like, oh, I'm definitely buying that. Like yeah, absolutely. I've heard nothing but positive things about that deck. Here's the thing. Every time I have picked up, been gifted, or purchased something that has to do with like creative, for some reason, I just don't end up gelling with the theme. And I think it's because I know that I am a creative person, but I'm creative in a specific way. And so I don't necessarily gel with the kind of language that I feel like a lot of products geared towards creative people use. It's almost like it feels like it's talking to somebody that's not me. And this has been the case with books. It's been the case with decks in the past. And I just realized that that's not going to be for me. As much as I think it's beautiful and I think it would pair well with so many decks and I think it's got a lot of really beautiful wisdom in it, it's not for me. But I kind of see it as a bit of a creator's pep talk kind of deck in a way, like something to kind of keep you motivated and keep you feeling really good. Not in the realm of creativity though. I was trying to think about what for my collection has that like pep talk kind of feel, and I realized it's these. These are the postcards from Spirit. This is is there a creator? Oh yeah, this is Colette Baron Reed. I should have known that. This is Colette Baron Reed. This was totally a Dustin made me do it. He pulled this on to I think it was in a 3 Fat Readers episode, and I had been going through a bit of a tough time, and he ended up like reading a message like from this deck for like the collective, and it turned out to totally be for me. Like I thought I was gonna cry on the spot. It was just really beautiful. These are really great, and it's such an underrated little deck, and it's great if you just want a message. Like if you don't want to have to work for it, that sounds bad, but like when I need a boost, oftentimes I don't want to work for it. It's why I work with decks like the Guardian Angel Tarot for self-care, or I work with the Angel Tarot, both by Radley Valentine. Anyway, let's get back to Colette Baron Reed. The postcards from Spirit have the messages right on them. So they literally look like postcards. They're so pretty. So this is kind of what the backings of them look like. You just get these like different, like they literally look like they've been postmarked and come from different areas and everything. Like they're so pretty. And when you look at them, like this says this side for the address only. It's got a stamp. It's been marked. And at the bottom it says with love. I think they all say that. Oh, no, they don't. So like this one says brilliant life, kind of faded and like in distressed down at the bottom. So this is what the backings look like. But then on the other side, you have these beautiful postcard messages. And I'm going to read a sample one, just this one here. Because I just think they're just really special the way that they're written. So it says, Dear you, now is one of those times you're being asked to add some distance. Take a step back and do nothing but observe. Don't worry about how long it will take to regroup. Just know it's temporary and actually an opportunity to take a breath, slow down, and look at how far you've come. Decisions for the highest good are made when you have clarity, which comes from being open to information from both the intellect and the intuition. When you step into the role of the observer, it's as if you turn on a switch that allows your soul to be an essential part of the information gathering and decision-making process. In this way, you can approach things from a more neutral and non-judgmental place. We know you'll make the right choice. Trust us when we say now is not the time to get too close to the fray. Step back now. You'll be glad you did. Love you. And this one says, you are pure joy, is what it says. And that was what the backing of this one looks like. So this is what this deck is. It's super unique. I don't think there's anything else quite like it. And so if I just need a message from like spirit or from the universe or something to just kind of give me a boost or give me a little bit of wisdom, this deck is so perfect for that. Again, nothing like the Sacred Creators Oracle. So I think it's important to point out that I don't mean to compare things from my collection. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I don't mean to necessarily compare things from my collection so much as point out things I could reach for a similar purpose maybe, or in a similar way. So that's that one. Now, another mass market deck that I'm not going to buy is the Witchling Academy Tarot. Y'all have been tagging me in this one and talking to me about this one, and it is so cute, and I love Pamela Chen's work. She's the creator of the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, and again, totally my vibe, totally my aesthetic, and in so many ways, I should love and want that deck, but the reality is I just don't. I think what's happened is there's been a lot of decks that have come out, not a lot of, but there's been a few decks that have come out that I think are trying to create that wizarding world kind of environment, and each one has a very different aesthetic. There's the Wizard's Tarot by Barbara Moore, and there's this Witchling Academy Tarot by Pamela Chen, and both have that kind of like you're in a wizarding school kind of feel. I think of those two, Pamela Chen's deck is closer to what I would want out of a deck like that, and yet to me, all I can think of when I see a deck like that is Harry Potter. And so I'm looking for Harry Potter. And I don't need to look for Harry Potter because I have Harry Potter. So I have talked about this deck before. I don't talk about it a lot, nor do I actually use it a lot. But it is a treasured possession for me. And this is the Harry Potter Tarot by artist Eleanor Piper. She's also the creator of, I think it's called the New Vision. Is it called the New Vision Tarot? I forget what it's called. She's got a modern kind of edgy deck as well that she's done. This is one of my limited color palette decks, and I'm all about it because the characters are so accurately drawn and depicted in this deck. Now, this is not a mass-produced deck, nor is it, it's not even really a tarot deck officially. Like, officially, this is basically a deck of fan art, and that is it. If you are interested in this deck, and I don't even know if you can still get your hands on it, that's what the backings look like. This was literally created as a fan art project and then put together into cards so that you can purchase it, but you do need to contact the artist directly. I believe through her DeviantArt account is how I originally contacted her, and this was quite a while ago. Again, I don't know if you can still get your hands on this, but this is very much a Thoth based and inspired deck. It's really smart because I'm not as familiar with the Thoth. I don't reach for it a lot. I think once I've studied Thoth, this will probably be one of the first ones I want to play with. It does read just fine, and I have read with it. I have worked with it, but I tend to just for now kind of like, I should not do it this way because I know the camera takes time to focus. I should really do it this way. Let me show you some more images. But yeah, it's really, really beautifully depicted. And so because I have a Harry Potter deck, I don't feel like I need a Harry Potter style deck, if that makes any sense. So this definitely scratches that itch. And can we talk for just a second about the stunning owl bag, Peggy bag that I put these in? So perfect. These used to live in a slightly different bag, but once we saw this fabric, this owl fabric, I was like, well, I need a bag for my Harry Potter tatter? I can't talk. I need a bag for my Harry Potter tarot, clearly. So that's what lives in there. So the next mass market deck that I'm not going to buy is the Wonderland Tarot by Barbara Moore. Now, okay, hold on. Before I get too far in this, I should say I may still buy it at some point because apparently I have become obsessed with Alice when it comes to the tarot world. There has not yet been an Alice thing that I haven't wanted. I've just been holding myself back. And the two decks where I've been holding myself back are the Wonderland Tarot, which again, I think it may be inevitable. I may pick it up at some point because I like the idea of exploring every different way that artists have looked at Alice in the tarot. There is the Wonderland Tarot by Barbara Moore that I've held myself back from. And there's also a tarot in a tin called the Tarot, I forget what it's called. But that one looks really cute as well. It's more of a pip style deck. I want them both in theory, but I'm trying to hold myself back because like how many Alice tarot decks do I actually need? The Wonderland Tarot looks really cute. I've looked at it a few times. I love the illustration style. I love that it comes in a nice guidebook. I do typically like Llewellyn decks for the most part. So it's pretty much almost guaranteed to be a win, but I'm really loving the indie Alice stuff that I have. So I'm going to show you. So the newest Alice deck to my collection, and I haven't even really worked with it properly yet, is the Dame Darcy Queen Alice Tarot. I'm real excited to work with this. I haven't worked with it yet. I am planning to work with it probably for a full month. Well, at least I'm planning to have like an Alice month. We'll see how it works out. But let's see, how do I hold these again? Okay, let's see. That looks good. These are a little bit glossier, so I'm trying to make sure that I keep the glare off of them. But I have this. Like, I don't need the Wonderland Tarot. I really, really don't. But the other thing that's got me holding back from purchasing the Wonderland Tarot, at least right now, this is so cute. I like this Dame Darcy one. It's come on. Anyway, the other thing that's kind of holding me back is that there is another Alice Tarot currently in pre-order status that I'm waiting to see how it turns out. And I guess I could say I'm not going to pre-order it either, but that's in a later category. But I don't want to pre-order it because this particular artist has already released a couple of decks. This one's going to be the Disney Alice Tarot, so I'm really excited to see how that's going to turn out. But I'm really nervous it's going to have pips. I've been anti-hauling pretty much everything from this creator and saying I'm not going to pre-order it, or I'm not saying I'm not going to buy it, but I'm definitely saying I'm not going to pre-order anything from this particular creator because the first couple things that she's put out that have been Disney licensed have been pips or semi-pips. So I want to see if she goes illustrated minors ever before I pre-order things. So we're going to see how it turns out. But I'm holding off on any other Alice-based tarot purchases until I find out if the Disney Alice Tarot is going to be pips or not. And then once I know that, and I know whether or not I'm purchasing that, then I may still spring for the Wonderland Tarot. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, that was enough babbling about that. Our next category is indie decks. Excuse me. Yes, indie decks I'm not going to buy. So the first one of these is the Gentle Tarot. And oh, you guys, I went back and forth on this like crazy. Watching people unbox this deck has been semi-painful because I really do love it. I think it's beautiful. I also have a lot of tarot decks, and I'm trying to be incredibly discerning right now about what I bring in. And I have a lot of nature and animal inspired tarot decks. I have enough that I don't really want to bring in something else that's sort of in that category because I have lots in this particular space in my collection already. but it's pretty. And I love the gentle, soft feel of it. I love how it feels like a hug in a deck. I know that was the intention, and I think the creator of that deck did an incredible job conveying that feeling. Every time I see somebody flip through the cards or I see somebody talk about the cards, I'm like, oh, do I need it? But I don't need it. So I'm not going to buy it. That may change at some point, but I don't think I'm going to buy it. That being said, I was like, what from my own collection can kind of like make me feel better about not scooping up the Gentle Tarot? And I thought, of course, the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. This is such a beautiful nature-inspired deck. I would venture to say that this one is pretty gentle as well in its approach. It is a very different feel. It's a very different art style. There are no people in this deck, whereas there are people, or at least outlines of people, in the Gentle Tarot. But gosh, this one is such gorgeousness. And if you haven't heard, there is Smoke, Ash, and Ember is the next deck that these two are working on, and it is a dragony deck, and I'm really excited about that. But this is really, really beautiful. It was also made in an eco-conscious way, which is wonderful. And it's a really nice quality deck. And I want to give this one more love. And I feel like if I bring in another animal-based deck, this one's going to languish in my collection. Look, I love these foxes. Look at this High Priestess. And I don't need this deck to be neglected because it's absolutely beautiful. It was one of my favorites that I backed in 2020. So yeah, I can definitely wait on the Gentle Tarot, at least for now. So the next indie deck I'm not going to buy is the Story Medicine Tarot. Now there are now 2 Story Medicine Tarots. There's a first deck and a second deck, and I think by the end there's going to be like 4 of these Story Medicine Tarot decks. And I will admit that every once in a while I go and I look at either the first one and now the second one, and I'm like, do I really need this? I kind of want it. It's, in a lot of ways, it's right up my alley, but it's very expensive. It's another one of those decks that's full of depth, and I try not to overload my collection with these really, really heavy, deep decks. I like a good deep deck, don't get me wrong, but I also feel like the deeper, heavier decks take longer to build a relationship with, and I have a few of those in my collection that I feel like, as it is, I don't have enough time to really dive into them as deeply as I feel like they deserve. And one of these, and one that I think has a similar, like, empowering vibe to the Story Medicine Tarot is the Tarot of the Crone. Now, I apologize to those of you who do not have this and desperately want it, because as far as I know, it is out of print now. I traded for this first edition copy prior to the second edition reprint. I actually traded with somebody at the Northwest Tarot Symposium. I'm so glad I did. I traded an out-of-print deck for it. And this was out of print at the time and is now out of print again. So it was a really great trade experience, but I'm really glad that I picked this up. I think this is one of those decks that does have a lot of depth. It comes in a 2-piece box, or it did. But this is a deck that is one of those deeper, I keep having to itch my nose. This deck is one of those deeper, heavier decks that I was talking about. It has that slower, I want to say sludgy, but I mean it in a good way. I just don't know how else to express it. But it has like a slow moving energy. Decks like this give me feelings like lava slowly moving. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels intense. They feel deep. They feel like they have a lot of wisdom. And like the Story Medicine Tarot, I feel like the Tarot of the Crone has a very feminine or female empowerment kind of vibe to it. I don't know if that's the intention. I assume that it is, but I've only just begun getting to know this deck and working with it. So I have a long road ahead of me with this deck. Now, another deck by Ellen Lorenzi Prince that is also heavy and deep is the Dark Goddess Tarot, which I also have and enjoy. So I don't think, the Story Medicine Tarot at this point in my tarot journey. I feel like I've got that sort of category of deck sort of covered in my collection. So yeah. I think I'm good. I can hold off on the Story Medicine Tarot for now. Again, I always reserve the right to change my mind. I should have put that in the disclaimers, but it's just a standing disclaimer. And I have many times anti-hauled decks. I think I even I think maybe even some of the stuff I've showed today, I've anti-hauled at some point or another, but then something changes and something shifts. Maybe something moves out of my collection. There's room for something new, that sort of thing. And finally, in indie decks that I'm not going to buy, I'm bringing this one up partly for fun because there was never a chance I was going to buy this deck. But I stumbled across this deck on Etsy and I looked at it, and the art style is actually really, really stunning. And there are some of you that are going to go gaga for this deck, but it is called the Cursed Auguries Tarot. But it's very nature-based. This deck scared me. Like, there was just some cards that were really intense and really, I would venture to say, dark in their themes. And it was just too much. It was too much for me. So that's not going to happen. But one thing I think that deck did really well was it showed sort of the darker, more intense side of nature. So if you're looking for a not fluffy animal deck, so not gentle necessarily, then the Cursed Auguries might be right up your alley. Or if you like decks that have that sort of more creepy, borderline scary kind of vibe to them while being nature-based, again, might be right up your alley. I don't need a deck like that in my life. The edgiest nature deck that I have is the, look at the bag match for this. Every once in a while, I have to just appreciate. Look. Anyways, this is the El Goliath Tarot. This is the 2nd edition El Goliath. This deck, if you're looking for a deck that's going to show you the edgier side of nature, but also be like a really excellent reader and have just a lot of wisdom, this deck is so perfect. So I don't need it to like totally smack me upside the head or be literally scary because I have this deck. This deck will definitely show the darker side of nature. It does also have some really gentle and lovely cards as well. It's not just all dark and creepy and scary, and some of it doesn't even have, like, here's just cups, right? So evocative. Goliath's artwork is like, look at this. Goliath's artwork is incredibly evocative and thought-provoking, and it's just a very, very well done deck, and I appreciate it an awful lot. So yeah, it was easy to say no. Not that I was ever even considering saying yes to the Cursed Auguries Tarot, but I wanted to mention it because I don't know that it's a deck I've seen around a lot or heard a lot about, and it's really well done. It's just not my style. So if you want something that's like that, I literally, thinking about this deck, I thought I just saw like a spider crawling across my ceiling. There's no spider, but there are spiders in the Cursed Augury Tarot. Anyways, it was really beautiful. It was just not beautiful in a way that I am gonna get along with very well. So no. All right, let's talk about decks I'm not going to pre-order. So I believe one of these is independent and 2 of these are mass market. So the first one of these is Dame Darcy's newest deck, which is currently up for pre-order, and it is called the Witchy. I have to look at it the Witchy Cat Tarot. Just not a theme I'm into at the end of the day. I am not really a cat person. I have nothing against cats. I think cats are great. I think other people's cats especially are great. I've had bad luck with cats. If I had better luck with cats, like if Dustin's cat, if you ever see Dustin's cat on video, I don't know, has he ever been on video? Dustin's cat, Knox, is so cute and so fluffy. Danny's got an adorable cat as well. I've had friends who have had really cuddly, sweet, nice cats. I haven't had the nicest cats. So I don't know, I'm just more of a dog person. So a cat-themed deck probably wasn't going to be for me anyways. That being said, I do have 2 cat-themed decks in my collection that totally scratch the itch, so to speak, if I ever am like, I really need to work with a cat deck. My favorite of these is the Mystical Cats Tarot. I forget the creator. This is a Llewellyn deck, so it's really affordable. It's mass market. If you want just a great cat deck, this is a great cat deck. Now, that being said, I love Dame Darcy's work, so if I was a cat person, I probably would be jumping on the Witchy Cats Tarot, but I'm not really. I have a cat-themed deck because I sometimes do readings where I'm helping people answer questions about their pets, and I like to have a cat and a dog deck for that purpose, and this one is great. I don't really reach for it for any other reason, but it's a great, well-done cat deck, and to me, it really shows like cat behavior. Well, I think the cards are beautifully illustrated and stick to Rider-Waite-Smith in a really great way, so they're really easy to work with. So yeah, if I ever feel the need to whip out a cat-themed tarot, that's one of the ones that I will probably reach for. I also have the Marseille Cats Tarot, which I have mostly because I like the art style more than because I specifically like the cats, although there are a couple really cute pictures in there, specifically the Death card, where Death is literally got a cat on his lap and he's petting it. That's really cute. So yeah. But that's another cat deck that I have. But I don't really feel the need to get any more cat decks. I don't see myself getting a cat deck again. We'll see. Maybe that'll change someday. But for now, not so much. That said, check it out because it's Dame Darcy's specific style of artwork, which is really fun. And if you're into that kind of thing, or if you like the style of it or the cats, you'll probably like it. I think the other thing I didn't like about it were the borders. It had weird borders, if I remember right. I'll have a picture somewhere on the screen for you to look at. But yeah, pretty sure it had weird borders. Now, the other deck that I'm not going to pre-order that I kind of really want to, but I'm not going to because I don't really know how much I would play with it or not, is the Cirque du... Is it called the Cirque du Tarot? Yeah, the Cirque du Tarot. This is a deck that's being created for Llewellyn by Lisa Robertson. I don't know who the artist is. It's the art. The art on this deck, the artwork is so pretty. It's this very like, it is the perfect art style for a circus-themed tarot. I haven't ever been drawn to a circus-themed tarot or oracle deck before. There is an oracle deck that is, I believe, an Alana Fairchild deck that is circus-themed. I've never been drawn to a circus-themed deck before. I just don't know if it's something that it's just not grabbed me. So we'll see. I think when I see a walkthrough, like a full walkthrough from somebody on that deck, I may change my mind. But it's really the art style, I think, that captured me. And I was trying to think about what from my collection will kind of like scratch that itch. And the closest thing I could think of that has that sort of playful, dreamy kind of vibe is the gorgeous Joie de Vivre Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. I love this deck. This was the first deck that I spent an entire month with in 2021, which is a practice I'm doing throughout the year. And this was kind of an impulse near the end of 2020 for me to purchase this. I love the art style. I love this deck is so smart. The characters in this deck could very well be in a circus. They just have that sort of fun, dreamlike quality to them. And this, it's very, I could see this totally being, I could see Paulina Cassidy totally doing a circus themed deck. Also, the color palette to me is kind of similar to the color palette in the Cirque du Tarot, which is kind of this like pastel-y sort of vibe. So yeah, this one. Now I will link in the cards to my, if I can remember, to my video where I did a deep dive walkthrough of this deck and I talked about my experience working with it for an entire month. This is so good. The Cirque du Tarot is one that I'm going to definitely be watching a full walkthrough once somebody films one and puts one up on YouTube, and I may change my mind about that deck. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, the next deck that I am not going, I'm petting my dog because he's here and he's hanging out and he's being really cute. You can't see it, but you can see my arm moving. That's what's happening. I'm petting my dog. Here, come here. Why don't you come into my lap? Okay, so now that Bruno's here in my lap and can get loved on, the next deck that I am not going to pre-order is the Rose Tarot. So this is a Nigel Jackson artwork tarot. I hope I have his name right. I think I do. I didn't write it down. I really like it. In fact, I really like the Nigel Jackson Tarot too, like a lot. And part of me really wants to pre-order this. However, the Nigel Jackson Tarot, I found out because Dustin got that deck, it has swapped the elements from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot associations, which is swords are air and wands are fire, for the more neo-pagan or occult significance, which is that swords are fire and wands are air, I guess. I don't know. It confuses me. I don't like it. I don't typically go for decks that do that because I just know it will annoy me. I know it will annoy me, and it's nobody's fault, and it is a valid interpretation of the tarot. It is valid. It is just not for me. So I think if the Nigel Jackson Tarot had the elements swapped like that, it's very likely that the Rose Tarot will as well. If it turns out that that's not the case, I may scoop this one up, but until I know for sure, not going to happen. And I was trying to think of what other deck from my collection could scratch the itch. Now, the Rose Tarot has this soft kind of colored pencil sort of style to the artwork that I think feels really kind of gentle and beautiful and soft. So the closest deck, and this is one, I haven't really talked about this on the channel yet, I don't think. I did feature this deck in an anti-haul and I picked something else, or excuse me, in a Say Yes to the Deck, and I picked something else. But I went ahead and got it anyways, partly due to pressure from Dustin, who was like, you need this deck. So anyways, this is the Tarot de Marseille Waite. This is what the backings look like. And as you can tell from the fronts, they have that sort of soft kind of colored pencil style artwork, I guess you could say. that just feels really gentle and nice. And this is just a really beautiful little deck. So I feel like this can totally scratch the itch. Another deck that could scratch the itch that to me has a similar sort of quality to the artwork, although it's very different than this one, is the Hoods Tarot. And I do have a first edition. That Hoods Tarot is out of print right now. I haven't heard that it's coming back or anything. I said that weird, but the Hoods Tarot is out of print. That one has kind of a similar vibe to me artistically as well. There's something about this sort of almost, I don't even know if this is colored pencil, but it reminds me of colored pencil. And that's kind of what the Rose Tarot makes me think of. So I feel like this one's good. It definitely scratches the itch for the time being. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to wait and see how it comes out, if how the elements are associated in that deck. I'm sure I will find out from Dustin, because I'm pretty sure he did pre-order that deck. So I'll be in the loop, and then I'll make a decision. All right, so that brings us to our final category, which is Kickstarters that I didn't back. I have been having an easier time saying no to Kickstarters lately for the most part, but there were two that seriously tempted me and that I have feelings about, but that I still ultimately did not back. The first of these is the Phenomena Oracle by Jessica Bott. I love Jessica Bott's art style, like absolutely love it. I backed and eventually rehomed the, there was a plant, it was a plant-based tarot oracle combination that loved the art style, just never really got to know. And I have another deck of hers, and I'm waiting desperately. She is currently working on a new version of the deck that was formerly known as the Idiosyncra deck, and it's now going to be called, I think, just the Jessica Tarot. She's been working on that. If you've been waiting for the Idiosyncra deck, watch her social media feeds. I will try to remember to have a link to her Instagram somewhere, but watch, because she's working on it. It's a slow project. She's putting out other things in the meantime. I am just being patient and seeing how it all unfolds, but I'm pretty sure I will purchase that deck when it's available, because there's just been so much demand for Idiosyncra deck, and I think she just wasn't ultimately happy with that deck, and so she's redoing it. A lot of the cards, as far as I know, I think she's redoing all of the cards, but she's redoing the deck in a similar style. Okay, enough babble about that. She has had the Phenomena Oracle deck up on Kickstarter, and the Phenomena Oracle deck is stunningly beautiful. I love that sort of vectorized style artwork. Love, 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 love Jessica's style. And I was really close. Like, I was this close to backing it. And then I started looking at the cards. And I realized that because they're all, the Phenomena Oracle has only a few cards. I think it has around 30, maybe even less. And they're all acts of nature, forces of nature. And they're cool. I love them. But as I was looking at the artwork, I realized, wait, pretty much all of these forces of nature are disruptive in some way. So I felt like it was a deck entirely of disruptive energies. Like, not always good disruptive, bad disruptive, but disruptive. And I realized that felt very one note in a way to me, and I wasn't sure how I would work with it as an oracle deck. I actually considered picking it up and shuffling it in with the other oracle deck I have from her, which is the one that I'm going to talk about that scratches my itch. I thought about maybe doing that, but I don't think, the backings are definitely different. And I was like, am I going to do that? And then the deck that I do have does have both some, like, I would say more uplifting or positive cards, and then some more disruptive cards already. So then it's going to throw the balance of my existing deck off. So then I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I just didn't back it. I didn't back it. And I was like, I don't need it. It's going to be fine. But this is the deck that I do have that I love. And this is the Amethyst Oracle by Jessica Bott. Love this deck. It's, again, kind of thinnish. Like, it doesn't have tons of cards. But I love this style. I do really enjoy working with this deck quite a lot. So yeah, love this. And this has, like, see, there's winter. Chai is such a comforting card. I love this. This is a fun deck for me to read and work with intuitively. Yeah, this deck, oh, I should just hold it. I'm trying to keep the glare off, but yeah, it's really, really pretty. So yeah, I have this. I love this fear card, but do you see what I mean? Like, there's fear in here. Like, I don't need acts of, and there's forces of nature in here too. Like, there's a waterfall. So we've got protection. There's seasons in here. Passivity we have in here. Chaos. So I felt like, I realized that, and I actually came home. I'd seen it on the internet, and when I got back to where my collection was, I was like, I went and looked at my deck. Like, do I have disruptive cards in here? And I do. So I'm like, I don't need a whole deck of disruptive energy. And weather, forces of nature, that's disruptive energy. Again, it's really cool. And if there was a way I could think of to use that, I probably would have scooped it up. But I just couldn't see how I would work it into my practice in the way that I work with my oracle deck. So I was like, I'm going to pass. But it's pretty, and I kind of wanted it. The botanical deck, that was the name of the plant. And that was the name of the plant and tree and whatever based tarot oracle deck that she did on Kickstarter that I did bring in and then rehomed. That's what that one was called. Okay. So this last Kickstarter I did in back actually gives me some pain to talk about. So this is the Avatara, Tarot Avatara by Gabby Angus West. Okay. A couple things. I love Gabby's art style, and Gabby's art style is not necessarily for everybody, but I love it. And I think a lot of people actually really love it. The Tarot Avatar, though, is a Frida Kahlo themed deck. And I think Frida Kahlo is awesome, but I have no connection to her personally. I don't feel a connection to her or the things that she represents. It doesn't mean that I have any, I think she's cool. I think she's great, but I don't know enough or have enough of a bond with Frida as a person or as a figure to feel like that deck would have been something I was really excited to work with. And I looked at the art and I was like, maybe I could just use it as just like a tarot. Like, I don't have to care about Frida or use it about Frida, but that's kind of the point. And like, I could tell that that was the point, and I could tell that that was the energy that ran through the entire deck. It just wasn't for me. However, somebody posted in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group like the day the Kickstarter went live, and I didn't see that post until the next day. And in that post, she mentioned that along with the Tarot Avatara, that Gabby Angus West had put up a couple of tiers in that Kickstarter campaign that included the Word of Sarah Howard, which is a oracle deck that she did quite some time ago that I have wanted forever. And I was like, I will back this deck, this Tarot Avatar, at any level that will get me the Word of Sarah Howard. However, they were all sold out by the time I saw it, so it was too late. There was only going to be like a limited run of 100. I messaged Gabby on Kickstarter to see if she had any plans to do any more of those, and I never heard back. So, don't know. If you guys ever hear of that oracle deck coming back, please let me know, because I would really like to scoop it up. Because a deck from Gabby Angus West that I freaking love and has been a long-time favorite in my collection is the Bonefire Tarot. I have the mass market version. I did not think this was going to be a deck that I was going to love, but it is one that I absolutely fell head over heels for once I got it into my collection. I do wish that I had the independent version, which I think had a matte cardstock. I could be wrong about that though. But I love this deck. I love it. I don't care that there's words on the back. This is like one of my favorite decks to use for relationship readings or for romance readings. There's a lot of heat and fire and passion in this deck. I love all the symbols and all of the noise in the artwork. And I shouldn't call it noise. That's just kind of how I interpret it. When tarot art is very busy like this, when there's a lot in it, it just gives me so much as an intuitive reader to like chew on and jump on and play with. And this floats my boat. And so I would love to have the Word of Sarah Howard to use next to this deck, because there's something very distinctive and unique about Gabby's art style. And I don't know that I've ever even tried to pair this with anything else. I can't remember if I have. I'm sure I have. But oh man, to have an oracle deck by Gabby next to this deck. So this is why I'm gutted that like, look at this Four of Swords. One shoe on, one shoe off. Just like, I need a break. Oh, this deck. Anyways, it hurt me in a way not to back the Tarot Avatara, because I love this deck so much. But just because I love this deck by Gabby doesn't mean I'm going to love every deck. And I need to remind myself of that sometimes, because it can be really easy to get into Gotta Catch 'em All energy. And really both of these decks, the Tarot Avatara and the Phenomena, both pulled me in from that kind of perspective of Gotta Catch 'em All, because they're both by creators who I love and adore, whose art style I love and adore, and in theory, whose decks I should love and adore. But I did learn the lesson, right? Because when Jessica Bott put out the botanical deck, I loved the art style, but I didn't gel with that specific deck. Same thing here. When Gabby created the Bonefire, love, 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 love. But the Frida Kahlo based deck just isn't really catching my attention. And I think I've learned from past experiences that just because I love an artist's work or a creator's work doesn't mean I'm going to love and gel with and want to work with all of their work, which is something worth remembering. Sometimes I can, but these were situations where I don't think I could. So I passed them up. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was a long one. I'm going to hopefully get rid of some of the extra babbles in editing. We'll see. Oh my gosh. So those are all the things I'm not going to buy, that I am not going to pre-order, that I didn't back on Kickstarter. As always, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What is the last thing, this is just, if you've watched this far, answer this question. What is the last thing that you were tempted by, but talked yourself out of when it comes to tarot, oracle, divination, anything in this sort of realm? What was the last deck that you were like, ooh, I really want that, but I know I'm not going to work with it? Let us know in the comments down below, because I think it's really helpful in this world of, this kind of consumerist world, if we're being really honest, the tarot community here on YouTube. I love talking about new decks and new creations, and I do it a lot, but there can be a lot of like perceived pressure to buy everything. And I really like to have conversations on this video series, my anti-haul series, and also in my Say Yes to the Deck series. I like to have conversations about how we're also saying no to ourselves, how we're also reminding ourselves that we don't need to buy all of the things, because we don't. And even somebody like me who enjoys collecting, I like to be able to use everything I collect. So I don't like to bring things in that I don't think are going to get play, that I'm not going to really reach for. And this series and my Say Yes to the Deck are both meant to kind of be balm to that sort of FOMO pain that I think a lot of us tend to feel when beautiful things come out and we sort of want them just to want them. And so this sort of helps me be a little bit more mindful. And in my Decks I Regret Purchasing section, I get a chance to also kind of look at things I've recently brought in and question whether those things are really meant to stay. I think decks come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and that's completely okay. I feel like I learned from all of my purchasing experiences and all of my just saying no experiences too. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. So share that with me, share that with other people that find this video later, and just let us know maybe something from your own collection that scratches the itch. It's a great exercise in recognizing gratitude for what you already have. So thank you so much for joining me for this month's anti-haul. I will see you guys all very soon. Thank you so much. Please do remember to click like in this video, on this video, if you enjoyed it or if you found value in it. Subscribe if you're new here. I do anti-hauls every couple of months. I also do another series, as I've been talking about, Say Yes to the Deck. I do lots of deck reviews, walkthroughs, witchy topics, all kinds of stuff. So if you are interested in more of that, make sure you've subscribed and hit the little bell so you're notified of my future videos. Thank you so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys. I've just never been drawn to a circus. I am going to watch for a full walkthrough of this. Hi, Shayla. Did you just open the door, babe?
Yes, she can't cope. She was starting to scratch.
She's
like super pissed at you for even being out here.
Hi, baby. Come here. Come here. Were you mad that you couldn't get in? Yeah, were you mad? Come here. Come here. Come here, Shayla. No? You just want to lay down next to me? Hi, Bruno. Okay. Can we settle now? Can I continue filming? Is that an option? Maybe? You're not even on camera. The angle's not right. Come here, baby. Come here, Shayla. Nope, she just wants to lay. Okay, well, whatever. She just wants to lay down. Oh, you can kind of see her. Can you kind of see her? You can see the back of her head? That's the back of her head. That's a Shayla. Bruno's like sniffing her butt. He's right next to her. Anyways, okay. Let me get back to it. What was I saying? No, you decided you wanted in. You've got to stay in now. Bruno, come on up. Come on up. Let me love on you. Maybe you'll stay. Okay. Okay, good boy. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Good boy. The first of these is the Phenomena Oracle. Bruno, come here, buddy. Bruno, come. Come here. Do you want a treat? Come here. Come here. Come. Sit down. Sit. Lay down. You gotta wait. Can you wait? We're almost done. We're almost done, and then we'll have a treat, okay? Okay. Want a treat now? Yeah? Is it treat time now? Okay. Let's get you guys a treat.